Hello folks, welcome back to another episode of CB Rebuilds. Today we're back on the 200SX. We're going to work on some of the body work and see if we can't get that to improve the appearance. We might work on some of the functionality of the electronics. I know I keep saying the tail light's on. It's kind of hard to tell because the lens is all smashed out. So I'll show you the situation we've got with some of the components, the electrical components, and some of the replacements that I found that we're going to try out. Alright folks, well here we're at the back of the quad. You can see that the housing is in pretty bad shape here. It's broken. We've got the rubber gasket just hanging out, not doing much. It does work, like I've always mentioned in the videos. You can see that it does function with the use of the switch, but with the lens being broken and the housing being broken, I think it's just time to go for a different style of light. I've got this LED replacement. I don't know, it's for a motorcycle or something like that. I've got it off of Amazon. The link will be down in the description if you're interested in getting one like this. It is a dual function, so it's a tail light and a stop light. Right now we don't have the capability for stop light, but we will wire this up for the running light so that we can, have a little bit of light behind us if we're going out at night after we get the bodywork fixed. So we're going to be installing this light before we put the bodywork on because it gives us better access. So you can see I had to test the polarity on the Honda. It has an incandescent bulb, so it didn't really matter the polarity, but we had a green and a brown wire. So originally I tried to match green and black with brown. That's not the wiring diagram for this, so the wiring for this would be green is ground and the brown is your tail light. So we'll have an extra lead here for now. That would be our stoplight signal. Alright, so here we're going to remove the broken housing and try to get the new one in. This seems like somebody's maybe modified this before. One side's a Phillips and one side is a standard flat blade. So the Phillips is coming out pretty nice. I'm not even sure what the fasteners are supposed to look like for this. I've got really no reference for that. One thing that we're doing is we're going to take this off and we're going to try to save it because there's a nice rubber mount here. So with the rubber mount, a little bit of vibration that the quad's going to see going over bumps along the yard or on a trail or anything, it'll be insulated some. So get this other side off and then we'll see about getting the new one mounted in. You'll see here on the wiring is that I went and cut it down. I really hate excessive wires if they're not needed. So I cut the wires down, put new bolt connectors, bolt style connectors on it, and on the stoplight here I put a female over it and then just a piece of heat shrink. Most of the time I prefer the marine heat shrink that has the adhesive on the inside, so as you seal it up it makes a waterproof connection and keeps it moisture out so it doesn't corrode your solder joint. This one right here is just a normal heat shrink. It does not have the adhesive in it so that it's easier to remove down the line. So I'm going to plug this back in with the bullet connectors. Back to the stock harness. You can see now we've got minus where we've got this other connector right now that's not being used. We've got a nice loop in it. And if we go up front, we should be able to see if it comes on. And it does. So we've got good functionality again of the tail light. Tail light's still on, but one of the things I really like using is this Loctite that looks like a glue stick. So it doesn't run everywhere. You can see you can just press it up and you can actually just put your fasteners in it, but with this one we've got I don't really want to take it back out of the holder, so I'm just going to take some Loctite out with a piece of TIG rod and set it inside the threads. Get it coated in there. And now I can tighten it up. Alright, so just like that, we've got the light mounted up, and it shows pretty bright. It's nice that it has a little bit lower draw. because it's LED instead of incandescent, so we should have pretty good reliability from this. We'll have to see how long it lasts. I am going to put a zip tie around that extra connector that just kind of is hanging free right now. I just don't want it to be flopping all over or get you know, too much weight on it and break the wire. So I'm just going to grab a zip tie and we'll get it seated. And just like that, now we've got the functioning tail light, and it looks really clean. It looks almost like an OEM installation. All right, so I brought the fenders in. Looks like we might have a little bit of a clearance issue with the bigger tires that we've got on here. It'll be tight, but I think we'll be okay for now. Just to kind of go over the general condition, I know we looked at them before, but there is a crack right here, and I don't think that it's going to be improved by, you know, sheer luck. So I think we're going to have to do a zip tie stitch on this. A lot of people would call it a drifter stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my drill and some zip ties, and I'm going to drill some holes across here and lace this up so that we can have a little bit more support from it. One thing I try to do here at the end of every crack, I try to drill a hole right where the crack ends. That's just so that there's a nice radius where the crack is going, so it hopefully keeps it from cracking any further. So I did that on all of them, putting a little extra drill in there. I'm just using a 3/16 drill bit because that's what fits my zip ties really nice. So I'm going to take this off, try to hide the zip tie, you know, the lock mechanism on the bottom, just to clean it up a little bit. We've got 2 bolts here, and then there's 2 more back here in the glove box that will hold this thing on. I think that's going to be pretty good for the rear. Then it'll be time to go to the front and see what we can find to put that together. One of the things I talked about doing was trying to tape off these fenders, maybe create some new lines that hide some of the cracks. So I'm just going to grab my tape here. I'm going to try to lay it out so that I can get over here in the straightest line possible and try to cover up some of this damage. Again, you know, we're not going anything for a showpiece or anything like that. We're just going for some functionality. Maybe we can spruce up the appearance a little bit. So right here, I'm just kind of aiming for that far side, and then I'm bringing it right to this point over here. Try to keep it straight going across there. And it looks like, you know, it looks like they're still going to show some of the damage, but I think it's going to be improved. So here we got just an angle grinder with a metal cutoff wheel. I'm going to try to get this lined up and make some nice cuts with it. So this right side, if you're sitting on the quad, is a little bit worse off, but I still think it's going to be improved by doing that. So I'm going to try to get this slotted on now and see how it lines up. If you look right down here, you can see there's very, very little clearance. I need that extra clearance to get the hood on, or maybe you're supposed to put it on first. Yeah, I'm not really sure, but I think I'm just going to take the bolts loose for the bumper and swing it down for now, and then after I get the plastics installed, maybe I'll go back to putting the bumper on. It looks like there's supposed to be a fastener here, and then there's probably a console or something that covers up around the gas tank. I don't have anything like that. So I'm just going to use an assortment of nuts and washers and bolts to bring these together. Keep the stress down, spread it out a little bit so it's not all in one area and keep cracking the plastic. But So we got these 2 bolts put in now. Really firms with the back here. I think I'm going to have to go and add a couple of zip ties. I kind of like the stitching, but I'm just